510 bird species, 260 reptile species, and 110 amphibian species. And if you look at the percentage, it's the 25% of the India's biodiversity which house there. And every year, new flora and fauna species are discovered in Western Ghats. And yeah, also I would like to mention about the monsoon winds over here. So as we know that the southward monsoon winds hits the western side of the Western Ghats, and that's why it produced a lot of rainfall, and that's why you could see a good vegetation in the western side of the Western Ghats. And towards the eastern side, it is called the rain shadow region usually, wherein you don't receive uh, that heavy rainfall, and that's why the vegetation is here is rather dry and deciduous. So that is one of the reason why I took Maharashtra as a region. And if you see the vegetation and land cover type, so hello.
Yes,
Ma'am,
Nehal.
can
You can see your slides and hear you.
okay.
Yes, yes.
So if you see the vegetation and land cover type in Western Ghat, towards the western side you see the evergreen forest, and towards the eastern side you see the semi-evergreen forest. So that is one of the reasons why I took Maharashtra as a region, and particularly I took Ratnagiri. Now let's talk a little bit about Ratnagiri. So Ratnagiri is situated in the western coast of Maharashtra, and it is surrounded by Sayadri Hills, and it covers around 8 talukas. And Ratnagiri has, so these are the 8 talukas, and the number of devrais in each taluka, it taluka means the district administrative. So herein you could see total there are around 830 devrais, and it covers an area of about 1200 hectares. And these are the deities which they worship over there. And if you look at the communities, we have Koli communities which are called the fishermen on the coastal region. Then we have the Katkari community. So what is Katkari community is that they were the historically forest dwellers, and Katkari is actually derived from the from the forest based activity, that is making of katechu from the keratin, and it is produced by boiling wood from the care tree, uh, and the evaporating of the same gives a brewery. So that is why the name comes as Katkari. And then there is Mahadev Koli, wherein they worship Shiva. Then let's talk about the mapping of Devrais in Dapoli district. So I chose Dapoli as the site. I don't know if site, it's not a site, it's a district, yeah. So there are around 132 in total sacred groves in Dapoli district, out of which 8 are undisturbed, 65 are partially disturbed, 37 are maximum disturbed, and 22 are totally disturbed. So if you see at the pie chart, 49% of it goes to the partially disturbed phase, and 28% of it goes to the maximum disturbed. So you can see the current status of these devrais in Dapoli. So out of those 132, I have tried going in detail for 11 of the devrais, which is Vanzoili, Dauli, Kadivali, Kodavali, Dhankoli, Karde, Shirkhal, and henceforth. So these are the areas and the status and the deities which they follow. So I have tried marking it in the Google map. So these are the areas of sacred groves. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Nehal. Very good. Yeah.
So let's talk about the beliefs and associations. So I'll play another video wherein it talks about the beliefs. So first is a religious belief. So this video is actually in the Marathi language, but there are subtitles, so you can just read it. Uh, could you see the video? Hello?
Yes, Nihal. Yes. See the video.
Okay. So that was the first belief, religious belief. Second, I thought it's the respect which they give to the nature god. So here's another video for it. Ma'am, could you see the video?
Yes, Nihal.
Okay, okay. So, according to me, the third belief is the medicinal importance which the Devrai gives. So, here's another short video for it. Ma'am, could you hear that?
Yeah, we saw the video. We couldn't hear anything, however.
Oh, anyways, it was in the Marathi language, so I think the subtitles you have worked for you guys.
What is the video over, or there's something?
It's over. It's over. It's the another slide which I'm sharing.
Oh,
So it talks about the present status of the Devrais in Dapoli. So like I previously mentioned about the 11 chosen sites. So these are few of the pictures which I could gather, and that is how the presently the Devrais look. So if you see this is a picture wherein you could see in the monsoon season and the same in the summer season. And a wetland which is in one of the Devrais called Gavdale. And if we talk about the threats, one of the major threats what I could read is the Sanskritization and documents. Now, what do you mean by Sanskritization? So, Sanskritization was actually a process by which a lower tribe imitates or it adapts the rituals or the customs or the beliefs or the lifestyle of the upper tribe. So that is what it has been happening, and that's why they are losing its own identity because they just want to show their power and money by uh, destroying all this Devrais in Dapuri. Second threat, what I could uh, read is the construction of the dams, then the fire, then the construction of roads, then the deforestation, then the collection of biomass, the cashew plantation. So yeah, these are the threats I could. That's it. That's the end.
Okay, very good introduction, Snehal, and feel like visiting your site.
Yes.
Ma'am, me too.
Okay.
Nehal, I
Yes,
just want
ma'am.
to know more. You had shown these two, three scenarios. No, one where
Hmm.
uh, there was nobody who was allowed to enter, something like a Mahavan kinds.
Hmm,
Uh,
hmm, hmm.
that that was one kind. There was one which had a lot of medicinal,
Hmm, hmm.
plants and vegetation forest. So and so you were able to see that there are certain parts where uh, there is absolute seclusion, and there are
Hmm,
certain parts where is still there is an exchange that
hmm,
keeps on happening. So,
hmm.
are they part of the same forest, the same one, or they are of different one,
Different Devrais, ma'am. It's not the
different
same Devrai. Yeah,
different devrais? So
yeah.
that would also are these devrais connected or related to each other by any
No,
chance?
ma'am. No, ma'am. It's the community which it belongs to.
Okay.
But because of the Forest Act of 2005, now it has been taken away from the communities and now it belongs to the forest department. So
Okay.
according to the local people, they are the people who are more hampering the groves. And forest people have told them, it seems that you're not supposed to enter because you're the people who are destroying it. And I don't think that's the case because they are the people who know much better than any other people over there. But they are just not allowed to enter the groves
Their own forest.
anymore. Yeah.
All right. So you would be able to say that some of
So,
these
Snehal,
forests are.
continue your work, and tomorrow after we have a class on region delineation, you will be able to map. Although you have like a understanding of the sub-regions within a region, but you
Hmm.
need to refer some more work. I think Rahul last semester has done his thesis on this Ratnagiri region. So you
Hmm.
can also ask him and take some references on the larger regional landscape values, etc. Okay. I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
once we are able to, we will still be going for a better comprehensive literature review. The deliverables of this will be told,
Hmm.
will be shared you on your email. Okay.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
continue researching about your topic.
Hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it is visible. You can go on.
So, ma'am, yeah. So, ma'am, basically, I have tried to look into the sacred groves of Gujarat, um where I have, we all know that there are only 29 sacred groves in Gujarat, where it is in Kutch, Banaskantha, Sabarkantha, and Dahod. And basically, then I went to see sacred groves of Kutch because it is in an arid geological plain. So I thought I should go and see how the ecosystem works out there. So zooming on to Kutch, there are only 3 sacred groves which I could find out: Shravan Kavadia, Sadai Pir, and Oran Mata. And these sacred groves are basically especially if I talk about Shravan Kavadia, which is the most preferred site I would talk. So in this particular site, it is very near to the sea, and the interesting and unique feature of this site is that it is an inland mangrove. So mangroves are usually a coastal ecosystem, but here the mangroves are inland, and this particular groove is is in a landlocked area. Like if I talk about how it was formed, so there was like the run of Kutch. It is very near to that also. There was it was a shallow lake, shallow sea first of all in the previous times. But then what happened is it gradually dried, and the salty water seeped into the soil. So run of Kutch developed into a marshy saline landscape. And then in 1819 there was an earthquake, and because of that it was in became an inland sea. And then this mangrove was like the genesis of this mangrove happened. And then after that the water does not comes out here, but it has become completely landlocked. And if yeah, so basically the 3 sites which I've talked about, the 2, Oran Mata and Sadar Peeth, they are very near to each other, and they are in the Gugliana Forest Reserve. And the Shravan Kavadia is in Bhuj, which is very near to the Arabian Sea as well as the Run of Kutch. And these 2 are in the tropical thorn forest, and the Shravan Kavadia is an inland mangrove. This mangrove was a very huge land which was around 2 acres, and it had a number of trees. But in 1998, there was an there was a cyclone which has destroyed half of the mangrove, and then half of the mangrove was destroyed in that particular event, and the half of the area was left, which is now protected by the forest department. But earlier the belief is that it is the belief and the story behind this particular thing, according to mythology, takes us back to the Treta Yuga, where the Shravan Kumar used to come here to take water and for their parents. And then in Ramayana we know that Dashrath was the one who accidentally killed Shravan Kumar. So he was like taking water from the same area, and the king Dashrath went there for hunting and accidentally killed Shravan Kumar here. So this site is now very shrunken. And so here basically this mangrove has Avicenna marina as the major species which a mangrove has, but it has a lot of threats, which includes the natural as well as the anthropogenic activities which happens. So here the people initially they the folklore here, and they did not log, graze, or they did not collect any firewood or anything, only in the so they did not do that. But in but at later stages, then the things were not very good, and so they the mangrove had to be protected by the forest department itself. Here the trees and everything, so the beliefs changed, so people did not take it that sacred in a sacred way. And naturally, if I talk about, then there are few species which are invading this area. So ultimately the mangrove species which were already there, they are getting hampered. And also there are like recent research papers what I've read, so there the people recently visited that site are says that the trees are infected by insects, and so it is not very taken care of site. Next site, what I have like what was there in Gujarat is the Oran Mata site. So that is a site where Oran Mata is the deity there, and although I could not find very relevant data regarding the tribes all present there, but yeah, the villagers over there, they have a strong connect. And so this is these are few of the pictures which shows the sacred grove and the temple of Oran Mata and Shiva present there. And this is the third site which is adjacent to the Oran Mata site. So that is also like I couldn't find much relevant study on this. So majorly my preferred study, I was thinking to take off for the Shravan Kavadia site because it has a unique character. Because in mangroves are usually a coastal ecosystem, but here it is an inland mangrove, so that is a very different kind of an ecosystem which I would like to study. And also because the threats here are not only from the anthropogenic sites, but also the natural ones, because the underground water here is lagging, so which is the main source for any mangrove plantation, which is now lagging here. So that also is causing the trees to die. And yes, so that is the another thing. Then other thing which I already told is the biogeological zone, which is here. So that is the deserted and the arid zone. So here trees and other plantations are very scarce already, but if any ecosystem is present here, which is such a different one, because if we see, there are only 8 inland mangroves in the world, and that too, if we talk about sacred ones, so then this Shravan Kavadia becomes the first sacred grove, which is an inland mangrove. So yes, that is the reason why I want to study this area and work upon it. So ma'am, that was it from my side.
Yeah, good, Trishla. Very interesting site, but like we'll further explore and see if identify various other sites which are in close proximity. And
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I could see that in few kilometers only, I could find another inland mangrove site in Kutch itself, which is called Guneri, but that is not a sacred site. But yes, there are inland mangroves which are present in 5 different patches. So that is another thing which is present nearby.
okay, so side zooming down, maybe we'll do later with more informed study, more informed
Okay.
regional landscape study. But right now, you have selected a probable site, which
Yes, ma'am.
which might be the same or which could come up to be different when you come through a logical mapping and of the
Okay,
land.
ma'am.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Yes.
So actually, I have selected a site here in West Bengal. Uh, it's called the Chilkigarh Sacred Grove, and it's in the West Midnapur district, as seen in the map. And this patch of green here is the entire sacred grove that covers approximately 58 acres of land. Uh, and is like there's a Kanak Durga temple which is very eminent in the region, and also a palace, okay. And the sacred grove sorry, and the sacred grove is entirely maintained now by the temple trust. uh, So, if we look at some myths and history of the place, there are mainly two main myths that led to the formation of the temple and the forest being declared as the like considered as a sacred grove. So, the first one is there was this king Gopinath, who is said to have dreamt of Devi Mahamaya, who ordered him to set up a temple for her worship. And later in that year, there was a drought in the entire region, and it is said that like like it wasn't monsoon or anything, but there was a sudden rain and all, and so there were like crops flourishing everywhere. So the inhabitants there started devoting themselves to the deity, and on their own they established a really small temple under a banyan tree, which still stands there today, and the temple is about a 400 years old. And the first picture here is of the old temple, and now the deity has been shift from here to this new temple, which is in the same complex around the area. And yeah, and it is also believed that only a Brahmin with a Sarangi surname or something is allowed to enter in the temple. And if we look at the forest, so this forest has known to exist long before the Nawa period of Bengal, and it acted as a place of refuge for for the fighters uh, who is to take defense here during the daytime. And like they used to conceal themselves in the forest, and the local people still believe that like the forest protects them from any harsh attacks from the outsiders or from the environmental damages and stuff. uh, and coming to the importance of the site, it is the largest sacred grove here in Bengal, and it was recently declared as a biodiversity rich heritage site. So there's a Vidyasagar University in the district, where Professor Ramkumar Bhagat carried out a research in 2003, where he came to the results that the sacred grove is of a mixed vegetation type of deciduous, semi-deciduous, and evergreen species of plants. And it has 388 species of herbs, shrubs, and climbers, including 105 species of medicinal plants, 10 species of timber yielding plants, and 17 species with edible fruits, along with 11 species with sacred value. And all these plants and the 26 species of animals here were on the near verge of extinction. So they requested like a forum and meeting something, and after the conference took place, the government declared it to be uh, uh, sorry, heritage site, which was biodiversity rich. And now the current threats of this place includes fragmentation, reduction in area, uh, invasion of foreign species, overgrazing, and extraction of resource. So like the hidden core of the forest has been exposed to common people, uh, which resulted in the overexposure of the resources, and the forest is and the forest started to fragment, and now there's only the outer area left, and the inner core is slowly getting depleted. So it really needs to be conserved. And due to the increased human intervention, overgrazing is also taking place, which in turn is again causing extraction of resources. Yes, that was all.
Okay, it is in West Bengal, Aapti, your site?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. It's in the southern part of West Bengal, and it's in the West Midnapur district. This is the district marked, and the sacred grove lies in this region, which is, if we zoom in, we see a green patch here, and this is over 60 acres in area, almost 58 acres approximately.
All right. Okay. You can go ahead with this site. Are there similar examples nearby?
Ma'am, but not really nearby. There are sacred groves present in other districts in the state, but they are like of very less area. Some are around with 5-10 trees, or some maybe a little more than that. This one is the largest one, so I've gone up for this.
Okay, so before you zoom down to this, just on a map,
Yes,
show
ma'am.
the presence of other similar groves. Maybe just like others have done, Google tagging of the different
Okay, ma'am.
sites.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes.
Okay, Bharti.
Ma'am, I'll share my screen.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, the site I selected is the southern western part of MP over here. There are three main districts: Bhavani, Khargone, and Khandwa, which are in this region. This region is called as Nimad. It gets separated with two rivers, Narmada and Tapti. So the upper part is Vindhyan ranges, and this is Satpura, and this region is Nimad. And I'll just go quickly through it. Ma'am, there are like a lot of cave formations because all the region here is like with the basaltic formations. 95% of the area is basalt, only rest 5% is sandstone. And soil profile is also not very thick. In this image, you can see that what is the type of landscape over here. The soil profile is not very thick. Vegetation, whatever which grows over here, is which grows in lesser soil depths. And all the sacred I noted were these 12 sacred groves in this region. Maximum of them are in district Khargone, then Barwani, and only one is there in Khandwa. I have placed this. Ma'am, for few sacred groves, I didn't know the exact correct location, so I belong from this region only. So I asked my family members to just tell me where it is. So I'll have to go there and then detail out what exact location and all things are there. I've just roughly placed few places because they are in deep forest. And I'll just quickly go through all 12 in very short. I noted down like what are the species also available over there and rough location of these areas. First one is Bijagarh. Like all the sacred groups are in caves or in the deep forest over here in this region. So this is Bijagarh in Khargone. This is Nagpadi. Ma'am, here every year lakhs of come over here every like it's a huge fair over here. But the thing is, after construction, this huge temple, this like conserved before, but now after construction of this huge temple, everything is like getting more organized, and this identity is of this place. And this is Pavagiri. It's like all these places are near falls and caves. This is Pavagiri. Jayanti Mata temple and Sirvel Mahadev is in a cave, and I visited that place. It's very tough to actually reach to that place also. And all these places, like this is Bavan Gaja, the very famous place in Nimar region. And here we can clearly see the landscapes also. Ma'am, there's not much.
Priyanka,
Uh,
all these places are falls in MP.
Yes, ma'am. In the southern western part of MP, this is the map where I'm showing you. This
Okay.
part. So all
Okay.
these places are here. So, ma'am, I
Okay.
didn't get much of documented data of these sites because I'll get some data in forest department. I've like contacted them, and I even contacted few environmentalists from the city. Like if I get some data from them, because there's not much recorded data of these sites, and I actually want to go to these places and see like what is the exact area and everything. I'll have to document it by going there. So this
Okay.
is it.
Yeah, I think we all will be booking a train ticket to different parts of India, and we'll be visiting all these sites at a go.
Yes, ma'am, these sites are
15
really,
of your sites.
ma'am, all these sites are really very beautiful. These waterfalls and all. So it's into deep jungle, so I'll have to go there and map them and mark them where exactly their locations are. Ma'am, this is all I got about my area.
And this data you got from internet.
Ma'am, I got this from Plant Sciences Department of DAVV University. There's one university in Indore. Devi Ahilya Vishwavidyalaya. So there's one plant sciences department. There they have noted down the sacred species. And from there I got that where are this, like in all this specific 12 groups, what are the species over there. So from there it is done. So ma'am, that's it for my side. That's all I got.
Okay.
Okay, Priyanka.
I still have to
Ocean Day?
go and talk to different people. Right now, I'm not very like I don't have much of data right now, but I'll soon have like in this week I'll get maximum data what I can have from different people. So I'll discuss it again with you.
Oh, all right then.
Who is next?
Ma'am, Ocean.
Akshaya. Okay, Akshaya.
Ma'am, Ocean.
Ush. Ocean.
Ocean. Ma'am, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. So, ma'am, the site which I have chosen is near to my place, um, and I will go through with the just brief introduction. When I was searching for the sacred grooves, I came across with the just different classifications of sacred grooves, like what kind of sacred grooves are there, how they are. How what is the belief of these sacred grooves, and then ecological significance of these sacred grooves, and what all threads which are making this sacred grooves. And then I came to across that what is the how sacred grooves are important on the basis of religion, ecology, and anthropology. And then after understanding these all factors, then I finalize my site. It's near, it's in a Punjab, in it's in a border of Gurdaspur, and it's a village named Katra Kutch village, and the sacred group name is Charpat Bani. And basically the people, there is a yogi who are protecting these areas. uh, it is believed that there was one yogi who used to do tap in this area, and then basically the whole land is a agriculture land. And then that the yogi asked for the land from the agriculture people, and they denied that to give this area to yogi. And they have they tried to push that person out of their farmlands. And after this when they pushed them, and there was a big when he fall down, and there was three water spouts came up. And this is how this place become a religious place. Now this water kumbh, which is a three water kumbh, which is because of which this is place is famous. And people from very long from various places come to visit this site. This is believed that this kund is basically for it cure the skin problem. And even they have lot of different religious belief regarding this. And the second thing which I can see more potential, which give more potential to my site, is that two canals are running along two sides of my site. As you can see, it's Mandopuri, the left canal, and the upper canal. And these canals are basically coming up from the Ravi river, which is at the 300-kilometer circumference to it is away 30 kilometer away from my side. And these canals are coming up from that river. And the main purpose of these canals are feeding up the nearest agriculture land. As I have mentioned it earlier also, that it's all agriculture land, and in that agriculture land, it's a very small area. It's a 30-acre area, which is dedicated to this sacred grove. This In this slide I tried to analyze, uh, uh, basically I want to see that how is any changes, like is this canals are recently made, or it's a very old canal. So I noticed that these canals are developed like 20 years earlier. So I can get only data from Google, that I have taken this, and these are like that I came to know that these canals are older than 20 years. So, and then I checked that there is any kind of encroachment within this 20 years. Then there is no such encroachment there is no such encroachment in this particular area. So in the next slide I will just give a little glimpse of the site, how the site is. uh, uh, so these are the picture I have taken it from YouTube, because I haven't basically the site is very near. It's like 100 kilometers from my place, so I can visit the site, and I will love to go there and see what exactly the scenario is there, as I am not able to get much data from online. So can you see, ma'am, a video?
Yes. Yes, Ocean.
Oh,
It is not playing, I guess.
ma'am, wait. There is some problem with my net.
इट इज ओके. ओशन, आसपास में और भी ऐसी साइट्स हैं क्या तुम्हारे पास में?
Ma'am, not there is no such side around my in the Punjab area, but Punjab is connected to Himachal, so Himachal is very rich in these area. Uh, they have lot of these kind of places, like Mansa Devi is there, Baba Balaknath area is there, and these are coming up in the sacred grooves only. Then Naina Devi is there. So I'm just
At least for context, we will need to study the nearby groves also. Before you finalize this particular site, you
yes,
also
ma'am.
need to study some of them, like of the nearby region as well. And second thing, so will you be able to like visit the site at later point of time, or
Yes,
is it
ma'am.
very far?
No, no, ma'am. It's just 2 hour run from my place. I can go and see the current scenario of the particular site.
Chalo, wonderful.
Yes.
Because your landscape has entirely changed. And in
Yes.
that case, it is very important to at least, this is an example of a site which has not been modified. And while the rest of the context has completely changed, so from point of concern, that point of concern, it becomes important to study your site. But
Yes, ma'am.
what you need to do is, with your study of historical documents, you need to identify the nearby or places with similar character.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. The
Okay.
major problem over my side is like it's a between the agriculture land. The whole area is agriculture, and the very small patch is there which is dedicated to sacred grooves. So that's what is the uh, this scenario is
Okay.
changing on this point.
Yeah, the farmlands, the nature of farmlands also has changed
Yes.
completely. So
Yes.
some, like, you have to study at a larger context, not the within the trees, but also the type of farms that are nearby, the type of architecture that is happening, the type of settlements that are there, and the relationship. So it is not that simple a problem wherein you just have a grove. Here we are talking of a grove and the relationship to the landscape. So which will have your nearby settlements will be considered. The type of other landscape patches such as farmlands or riverines, etc. These would also be investigated. Okay, Ocean.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Uh, so if we consider Tamil Nadu, there are totally 1264 sacred groves in total. So the main important landscape and geography of Tamil Nadu lies in the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats. So Western Ghats, as we all know, we studied previously also, it's the Nilgiris biosphere. So that consists of the Sholas which we studied previously. So in the Eastern Ghats comes the Koli Hills. So Eastern Ghats consist of all these Namakkal, Rasapuram areas. So the Kaveri River flows from the Western Ghats and the southern edge of this mountain block. The concave edge of the mountain has forest regions in the bottom. And recently, there has been erosions happening all the way because of the tourism activities. The streams are that are originating along the curve near the lake of Namakkal drains into the Kaveri and further joins in its foothills. So recently, the plateaus was through this inward curve in the mountain, climbing to the plateau at an altitude of about 1,000 to 1,300 meters. So since it rises diagonally along the northeast direction of Palghat Gap, it receives more rainfall than its adjoining plains. So the forest of Kolli Hills have number of endemic species that are mostly seen in humid Western Ghats. So the forest may have a large harbored mammals that are systematically hunted by the tribal community, which have they have been lived there for over like years there, over like centuries there. So these Kolli hills have an ecological importance with four different types of forest also: scrub jungles, deciduous, semi-evergreen, and evergreen forests. So in Kolli Hills, one such site which I have taken is Ammansami Sholai in Kolli Hills. So this sacred grove holds medicinal plants majorly. So people are not allowed to actually enter the site. It is along the fringes of a along the fringes of a village. So this patch has been a continuation of the forest that runs down the edge of the mountain, looking at the plains from the mountain at the edge, and we could see the Kaveri also flowing in this horizon. So the major Kolli Hills actually covers 82 hectares, but this site is a part of it, is a patch of it. So this site is important because in Kolli Hills alone, there used to be like around 330 patches of sacred groves, but currently it's come down to 35. The main reason is that people started like planting like for their economy and livelihood, tapioca, and they started cutting the forest. So the forest area is reduced. This is one side which I have. The other ones are along the foothills of the Eastern Ghats, and all these next four sites which I have, three sites which I have taken, or along the foothills of the Eastern Ghats, as well as at the fringes of these villages also. So yes, ma'am. This is the basic of what I'll be studying, ma'am.
Okay, Akshaya.
Yeah, good, Akshay. Okay, so you can take any like any of these, है So
Yes,
first you
ma'am.
will identify a region and then you can go ahead. But
Yes,
Eastern Ghat is huge region, so you need
yes,
to
ma'am.
really zoom down into sub-region
Yes, ma'am.
because
Yes,
there is
ma'am.
Kaveri Basin or Pesa Basin, or maybe that can be another way of delineating yours and dividing your maybe your okay going to your sub-region.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I may
So
not
there is a
be
lot
able
of
to
scientific projects
visit the site which is
and
completely opposite to where I'm stationed, but I'll try to get whatever data I can get through the internet, and
yeah.
fine, ma'am.
Yeah, and they in this region it is dominated by alluvial floodplains of
Yes, ma'am.
all the rivers, which are carrying a lot of silts and they flood also. So whether
Yes,
your
ma'am.
trees or groves have a relationship to that to address something, okay.
Ma'am, can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Ma'am, I have chosen the site of Devakad, Sacred Groves of Kodagu, situated in Karnataka. Actually, Karnataka is supposed to be the fourth state in India which have highest number of sacred groves, and among that Kodagu region, which I have chosen, it is having the highest number of sacred group inside Karnataka, and it's also that Kodagu is one of the major site in the entire world which have highest density of grooves. About one groove is located per 300 hectares of land. So on the total Kodagu region, there are about 1,214 grooves in 2,550 hectares of land, ma'am. So, and these groups are protected by forest department, and it's like it's managed by local communities. Karnataka, as we have already studied about the Western Ghats and all, this also lies in Western Ghat, and it's like one of the 32 biodiversity hotspot, and this Kodagu is also supposed to be the one of the 8 hottest hotspot of the biodiversity in the entire world. And this Kodagu region, it comprises of 1,342 floral species, which contribute to 8% of entire India's floristic diversity, also 32% of Karnataka state's floristic diversity. And this region have tropical wet evergreen forest, and the major changes in the land use was when the British ruled. They introduced coffee and pepper plantation in this region, which led to lot of changes in the land use. Actually, this Kodagu region is divided majorly into Madikeri, Somwarpet, and Virajpet. And among these three sites, inside Virajpet have the highest density of sacred groves. So I'm trying to narrow down to that region, and I'm planning to study that region, ma'am. And these are the major sacred grove which I have located inside the study region, and this have highest density of sacred group, and each village are having at least one sacred group, and few villages it even have more than 10 sacred groves here. And these the group size range from a fraction of hectare and also to some tens of hectare in some sacred groves. Actually, there are majorly 58 sites here, which is spread over three types of land use. The first one is among the coffee plantation, then the farming area, which are like found by the clearing of forest, and also reserve forest. So this is a site of 600 square kilometer, ma'am, which is located in southern west part of Kodagu. Actually, there are 28 communities who takes care of this sacred groups, and also it comprises of Muslim community who are called as Jama Mapilas, who also take care of this sacred group. And each sacred group is maintained traditionally, and there is a head for each sacred group, and they are called as Devatakas who manage this. And also, these sacred group serves as the mechanism for communal and social integration in this region. The major threats for these sacred groups are loss of affinity towards the group. The newer generation, they don't have much connection to the sacred group, and also the encroachment which is happening due to developments and plantations and other farming practices which are made by clearing the forest region, and lack of awareness about the ecological significance of these groups. And also local people, some of the local people, few groups are not conserved by the local people. And the major transition what you can see, as I have shown, nature worship, annual worship, and forest temples. This is how the groups were functioning before before few years. So people were worshipping the nature, and they used to travel once in a year to these groups. And also each forest used to have one temple in that. So now how it have transformed is people are more going for temple worship instead of worshipping the nature. And also because of the improved connectivity, transportation availability and all, from annual worship they have came to daily worship. So many people are started visiting, and which also degrades the forest tranquility. And also uh, from forest temples it have transformed to temple forest. So before there used to be a big forest among which there will be one temple inside the forest. Now around each temple they have just left little bit of forest area, and they have encroached the rest of the area. That's it, ma'am. Hello.
Hello. Yes, go
Yes.
ahead. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you also have selected a pretty, like you have received a good site, and you, I believe you have literature and this thing are able to access the secondary literature regarding your site.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. As far as I have searched, I got few data on this, ma'am.
Chalo, okay, good then.
Okay. Thank you.
Right, again, similar comments, you need to identify similar sites within the, and because we also need to see the ecological differences.
Okay.
What is, why is this grove different than other? So is this a rare kind of a thing? All right. So we have to look at it largely, Gurnandi, before you come down to your site.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Sure.
Ma'am, is my screen visible, ma'am? Hello?
You can see your
Yes,
screen.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, the site which I selected is the Rayalaseema region. In Andhra, if you see, the Eastern Ghats are passing toward, they come from Tamil Nadu, they pass towards the Andhra, and they end at the Orissa. So these Eastern Ghats divide the Andhra Pradesh into three different regions, that is Rayalaseema, Telangana, and East Coast Andhra. So this Rayalaseema region, this lies between the leeward side of the both Eastern Ghats and the Western Ghats. So this climate is hot and humid, and as we can see, the vegetation over here will be always dry, and most of the time the region is in drought. If but it has like two different types. Like on the eastern side, it's full of the Eastern Ghats, where it has Nalamalais hills and Iramalais, and even Horsley Hills. To the west side, this is all comes under the Deccan Plateau. This region has majorly four districts: Anantapur, Chittor, Kadapa, and Kurnool. And the rocky type of the land is majorly the mixture of the metamorphic and sedimentary rocks, and the soil type available are black cotton and red soil. In this region, the vegetation is divided into basically 5 types, and Anantapur is majorly in the drought area. So here we can find all scrubby type of land, and in Chittor we can see evergreen and even dry deciduous. And in Kurnool, it's majorly the Nalamalai forest. Here we can see mostly the dry deciduous, and the middle part is mostly of dry deciduous and red sand dunes. In the Telangana, in the Rayalaseema region, the most famous type of forest is the red sand deers, which is called as pride of Andhra Pradesh. This is seen nowhere in the world. This is only available in here. So in Andhra Pradesh, the tribes are called as Pavitra Vanas. So there are in this districts, the major tribes are there in the Chittor district, and next in the Kurnool district, which are majorly located in the Nalamalai forest. So I've tried to locate the major hotspots of the sacred groves in a regional level. So I've indicated these colors like the number of sacred groves in 4 different districts. So I've tried to note down like the main important sacred groves in all the districts. As we see here, this is the like I'll quickly just tell the names of it, ma'am. The Upper Ahobilam and the Srisalam. These are the main 2 major sacred groves in the Karnool. And this Srisalam, this has been visited by even people from the worldwide. As you can see, the common features of these groves are often present in the vicinity of the ponds, streams, and springs, which helps in meeting the requirement of local tribes. This major grooves are present in the Nallamalai forest. And coming to Anantapur district, these grooves are actually completely well protected, as there is no much human intervention. But in these Karnool districts, these are completely given to tourism, so there are more people are visiting to this place, and due to which it's causing threat to the sacred grove. And these Anantapur district, in this, the grooves are well protected, and you can see this is the Timmanara Manu. This is the very important grove in Anantapur district, where it has the banyan tree, which is the world's biggest banyan tree. And these are associated with the different gods, mostly Shiva, Vishnu gods. And coming to the Kadapa districts, this district actually majorly has this dry and scrub landscape. And coming to the Chittor districts, where this district has more of this holy water, people come from the different places, come and dip in this water, they believe in that. And these all districts has the vegetation which is here has more of medicinal values. So, and the major tribe which is associated with this is the Chenchu tribe and the Lamba tribe. These are the aboriginal tribes, majorly based on hunting and gathering. So, for the regional level, I tried to locate the sacred groves, ma'am. So, yeah. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Yes, Sindhu.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So, Sindhu,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
need to have you marked this region based on the density of sacred groves, or what was the feature? What is this landscape characteristics of this area particular?
Actually, ma'am, in the Rayalaseema district, it's 2 types, ma'am. On one side, it's a Deccan Plateau. On the other side, half of it's covered with the Eastern Ghats. That is all the Nallamala and different range.
Okay.
So there is a variation in the landscape. As we can see, these are on hilly regions. So they generally have different characteristics of vegetation. And these 2 districts are completely on the hills, and the other 2 districts are completely on the flat plains. So there is a difference in vegetation and even the type of association with the gods and all. There is a difference in that. I could just go overall different district wise, ma'am. How is it different?
Okay, Sindhu. Yeah. So, see, all of you have selected have selected pretty strong sites. Each one of you, I believe, would be able to come up with a very good study and a very valuable study. So, always remember, we are landscape architects. Okay. So, what is our we are able to synthesize information of multiple layers, and how do you give back to community? So we are professionals, designers, who are able to use one form of information and convert it into something more meaningful, more with larger good, with larger good to the community and larger good to the society or the environment itself. So It's like every time you have to question whenever you're taking this type of an exercise, you have to understand your role and what is the new thing that you are contributing. So our analysis and interpretation, our diagrams are very much meaningful, because here you will be like bombarded with lot of secondary literature. So putting it up, remember in your present study, you will have to do a lot of desk analysis. So whatever data you are getting, you have to sit with it and see what does it mean before easily accepting it. Okay, so you are not so easy. Remember, you all are professionals, and it should be very hard to convince you. All right. So whatever information that you get, you have to question it every time. Is it of use to me? And matlab, how do I map it? How do I express it? So because you have some tools like spatial this thing mapping, and which are very unique to your field. So why not utilize them at every point of time? The diagrams that you can make, the ecological diagrams of interactions that you can make. Okay, so tomorrow most probably we'll have a class on what is a region and how do you identify a region, and nuances of regional landscape mapping before we finalize your site. And so what you all are required to do today is prepare a list of all the references that you have in form of movies, journal articles, then only your videos, books, or interviews, or like some kind of paintings, okay, or any other form of information that is available. So you will be making a big list either in Excel sheet or in Word about your particular site. Okay,